Let's call this up to order. We're reconvening the open session. We just got out of executive session. First order of business is to the appointment of two reserve police officers. Chief Reed.
Thank you, Board of Selectmen. Two officers, or the two candidates, which are sitting in the back of the room. The gentleman in the dark suit is Cameron Short, and the gentleman in the gray suit is Mike De Niro. I can just give you a little quick bio of both of them. Cameron Short, I'm recommending him as a reserve police officer for the West Newbury Police Department. He attended the Reserve Academy on his own time recently and has completed that academy just about the last year. He's also a graduate of the North Shore Community College with a degree in criminal justice, and he's currently employed by the City of Amesbury for the DPW. Once hired, Cameron will start his field training program over the course of 6 to 9 months, covering as many aspects of police work as we can during that training period. The training will last approximately about 400 hours, and during that time he'll work between an average of 12 to 16 hours each week until that training is completed satisfactory. He understands that once the training is completed, that we're expecting him to work at least 4 shifts each month when they become available. And Cameron has signed a 24-month contract starting the day he completes his field training. Does the board have any questions on my recommendation for Cameron Short for reserve officer?
Not against the gentleman at all, but the this is new. About a contract?
No, not really. All the reserve officers have been doing that since I became police chief.
That's something that the police can, the chief can get in?
I looked at it and I didn't.
Can you get that?
I didn't find
So we don't
anything.
have to have anything to do with that?
No.
It's just the first time that I saw it.
No.
Perfect. No other questions?
I want to get our money back, or at least the services.
No, I agree.
Okay, the second one is Mike De Niro.
Should we deal with this one?
Yeah.
So I move to appoint Cameron Short as a reserve police officer through June 30th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Okay, the next one is Mike De Niro. He resides in Haverhill. He comes from a law enforcement family, and I'm recommending him also as a reserve officer for the West Newbury Police Department. He attended the Reserve Academy on his own time recently and completed it also back in 2016. He is currently enrolled at Salem State University in an accelerated bachelor's program in criminal justice and psychology, and he's currently full-time employed for the Mass Department of Conservation and Recreation as a ranger. Michael will be same thing as Cameron. He'll be field trained over the course of 6 to 9 months, covering the same type of police work as we see fit. The hours would again be about 400 hours, and his expectations or ours of him will be similar to 12 to 16 hours a week during field training. And once the training is completed, our expectation of him, he'll be working upwards of at least 4 shifts per month. And he has also signed a 24-month contract.
Make a motion that we appoint Michael De Niro as a reserve officer of the town of West Newbury through June 30th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome to West Newbury.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll give them their cards. Hang on.
Do you want copies? Yeah.
Wednesday.
So
Yeah,
I'll
give
just
it to
give
Mary.
it to the town
Give it to
clerk
Mary.
and-
We'll sign them now.
Well,
We're just gonna sign them now and give them to you, or do you have to
I
have
think
them?
she wants them.
Okay,
I need copies.
but we'll still sign them.
Yeah.
Sign the
Why can't you just do it right now? Oh, you wanna bring your families and everything?
No, okay.
I just want to make a copy of the signed certificates.
No, then like you hand it to them.
What
Yes.
park are you a ranger in?
Salisbury.
No.
Oh, nice.
It's nice over there. I like it a lot.
Were you there at all when that gentleman washed up?
I responded to that actually.
That's a tough situation.
Definitely, it's unfortunate. It was very sad. At least
the guy that was on the
nice
boat.
that was able to rescue one, thankfully.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. You want to,
Go down to 5.
if you, oh, Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I could do the investment report also.
okay. We are going to, the public hearing is scheduled for 7:45, so we're going to skip to the next item, to item 5 on the agenda. A deed release related to the previously town-owned land in Haverhill,
As voted by town meeting.
as voted by town meeting, correct?
What do we need to do? I thought this was all done.
Just vote to, sign the deed.
I make a motion to, sign the deed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that is right here. I'm just making sure we got the right, yep, okay.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys.
Did you have a lovely walk to the food mart and back on the other day?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Look at you. I know
Archie.
you still live on Donovan Drive, right?
Page 2.
That's a good walk.
Two parts, okay.
I didn't even see it.
I was just going down I was just driving.
I'm trying to do that now twice a week.
Good for you.
How about yourself? How you doing?
Good, excellent, thank you. I could tell because you had the food mart bag in your hand. That's why you.
There you go.
Why don't we,
Request for
skip down
appropriation?
to 7, can we do that quickly?
The appropriations we can't do?
I was gonna.
Okay.
7 is just the wording of our our town
Job
manager
description?
job description. Our draft,
I don't have any further edits.
I just had a couple of grammatical, changes
Where?
on, okay, the 1, 2, under operational responsibilities, the 3rd paragraph, it says concerned with the long-range mission. I just want to get rid of the, okay? And in the 6th paragraph, same area, under operational responsibilities, just change its to it is. It's just.
It is important.
It is important, yes.
Okay.
What was the first one?
Okay, six paragraph down, on the far right, it says it's with an apostrophe. I just wanted to make it say it is.
Oh.
Sorry, we don't need a contraction there.
This keep you up at night?
No, but it has to be.
I know, but it does. You
That
made
was the
comments
only
about this. I
change?
know, when you were on the FinCom, you and who else used to battle back and forth?
Sherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sherry
Very
or
grammatically correct.
Jessica?
Jessica, no,
Jessica too, yeah.
In the third paragraph, Mary, you have the, eliminate that. Under
At
operation.
long-range planning, get rid of the in front of long.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
So I move to approve the draft with edits of the town manager job description.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, good, we have a job description.
Let's, yeah,
coming
Mr.
in?
Anderson, can you just give us like a brief synopsis of what the managers had to, money managers had to say about our account?
Sure, it'll take me about 3 minutes.
Okay,
So the current market value as of June 15th, 2017 in the OPEB account is $1.8 million, and it's invested 37% in bonds, 58% in stocks, and 5% in cash. Year to date through May 31st, the account's up 6.8% versus its benchmark, which is up 6.2%. On a trailing one-year basis, the portfolio is up 8.7% versus its benchmark, which is up 10.6%. And inception to date, the portfolio is up 6.8% versus the benchmark of 10.2. They explain the underperformance on the 1 year and inception to date basis. So this is Cambridge Trust, who is our investment manager. Inception to date basis being attributed to an 85% allocation to large cap growth, which was out of favor during certain periods since inception to date. They also added mid cap and international exposure, which has benefited the portfolio more recently. 2015 was a difficult year for stocks, and they appear to be making good progress recovering from that. The portfolio appears to be well diversified across all sectors of the equity markets and bond market. Jean Trim, who has been a big asset to this committee because this is her job. I'd love to have two people like her on the committee. Asked if they were considering other asset classes such as commodities and liquid alternatives. They indicated they're reviewing those options. As of June 15th, 2017, the market value in the stabilization fund, so I was talking about OPEB, now stabilization, was $1,678,000. It's invested 97% in bonds, 3% in cash. Year to date, the account's up 0.6% versus its benchmark, which is up 1.8%. On a 1 year trailing basis, the portfolio is up 0.5% versus its benchmark, which is up 1.3%. And inception to date, the portfolio is up 1.2% versus its benchmark, which is up 1.9%. They're trailing the benchmark for bonds because they're very short in bonds that they own and do not own any foreign bonds. Bonds that they hold are diversified across various sectors of the bond market and are good quality, with average rating being an S&P AA rating. This is a good strategy given the rising interest rate environment that we're in to own very short dated maturities in that portfolio. The benchmark portfolio is compared to holds 30-year bonds as well as foreign bonds, which have outperformed as of date. And they also provided an economic overview and felt cautiously optimistic on both economic data and markets going forward. So that's the report of the investments. Beyond that, the committee had a brief discussion about stabilization appropriations. So this was important, I thought. The school stabilization account only has $50,000 in it.
That was going to be my
question. Which is the initial appropriation from 2015 annual town meeting.
And I was going to, I noticed
subsequent appropriations of $107,000, and then more recently this year of $279,000 were made, but these amounts are still in the general fund. So that predates Andy. That goes back prior to him.
So is it, when you say are they in the general stabilization fund, or they're not in this fund at all?
Just the general, yes. Yes.
So they're not earning.
So these amounts, they need to be moved, and so Andy recognized that, and he said he will handle it, but I think we need to follow up to make sure.
Because I noticed that, I thought maybe I was like reading it wrong, because I also noticed, we also have the newly formed pension.
I didn't get to that yet.
Yeah, fund, which isn't listed at all.
Yeah, so those amounts should be moved. So I actually wonder why this was not identified in our annual audit. Better question. should have been.
Well, he wouldn't have had, would he?
He would have had the 107,000 from 2 years ago.
And not unless he had the votes. I mean, our audit goes back, so he would have to go back to a town meeting vote, realizes that we voted to do that.
I think that's what he's supposed to, I mean, we could ask the finance director, but I think that's what he's supposed to be looking at.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
asking. I don't know how.
I think so. So likewise, as Archie just said, there's no pension stabilization account even set up, and there should be $100,000 now in that account, so.
So we're
Fine.
2 years behind, basically, we're 2 years behind.
How long does it take to set these things up and transfer the money?
An hour.
Yeah, so instead of following up on it with him, can somebody?
Well, I already sent,
And tell him
Well,
we'd
no,
like,
when-
we'd like it done by Wednesday,
Glenn,
something like that.
when I read the report, I sent Andy a thing and said, am I reading this wrong, or otherwise we gotta do this? I already did that.
The answer?
No.
Okay, so I would mind a follow-up saying if we could have it done by the end of the week and send us an email that it's done. That
So you're
reasonable?
gonna do it?
Okay.
Is that reasonable, Joe?
I think that's perfect.
Joe.
Yes.
Just one question, if they haven't been transferred, the ones from last year, not so much this year's,
Yes.
because is that, from fiscal year 16,
Correct.
does that mean that our free cash was overstated?
That's what I would conclude.
You would have to come to that
Yep.
conclusion unless, because the books wouldn't be transferred, so you're looking at one book, and if the money's in that book.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
now, well,
we need to
another.
make sure that doesn't happen for this year.
Well, unless, no, but see, that's why I wondered whether I was reading it wrong. I wanted to, it's possible that they could have been put into the general stabilization fund rather than in the,
I don't-
rather than a specific school stabilization. They might be in the, that's why I didn't jump to the conclusion.
I asked the question, and the finance director said it's in the general fund. I can only go by what
But
he
he
said.
might have meant general stabilization fund.
That wasn't the implication.
Okay, but let's.
I would
dig
ask,
deeper, yeah.
I would ask.
So the ones that this year, the ones that were voted for fiscal year 2018, if they were voted at an annual town meeting, that wouldn't be, you can't ask.
They're not ready yet.
Yeah.
But I'm
exactly.
just, yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't be.
I know, but I just want to make sure we understand.
The
I'm
only,
not talking about those, but I want to put it in
the
perspective.
only thing is that I think it might not be in the free cash certification, only because when you do that, we have to fill out, I have to do the certification for all the town appropriations for town meeting.
Oh, with the state.
And with the state, so that has to
And
be
they would have,
completed,
they're the ones who certify.
and they're the ones who certify.
Well, then
free
he
cash.
misspoke then.
Okay, why don't we do this? We don't know. Let's find out by the end of the week.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if we could find out then too, I would ask that we do it and get it done, and then I would like a recap on our free cash. I'd like it done, and then after it's done, I want to know what our free cash is, what our stabilization is, what our special stabilizations are.
Okay, it's 6:45, so let me just make one comment and we can move to the public hearing. So the investment policy was new and it's been in place for a few years now. The committee would like to do a review and recommend some changes to the board. We'd like to look at investment restrictions that we have in place, committee makeup, and the complexity of the document itself. I'd like to, one thing on the committee makeup is it's the finance director, one person from the finance committee, selectmen, and 2 at large. Remove the finance director, won't exist, so just move to 3 at large and finance committee and selectmen. And then town manager, town accountant, or no, town manager and treasurer can just be ex officio to the committee.
I do have a question, like, a statement you made earlier. When Gene Trim mentioned and asked a question about our investment people, if they were doing something, I would assume that she wanted them to look at that because they might yield better returns or something?
Yes.
And how does that work? asked them to look at it, and they said, oh yeah, we'll look at it, but what happens? And then they'll come back and say, hey, we're your managers, and we don't recommend doing that, we recommend going down this avenue.
Well, I mean, that's something, we're not gonna, this committee does not meet that frequently, like quarterly at best, not
I'm just
even.
curious what her.
So
I assume
that's
what-
really an Andy follow-up. I mean, Andy's the point of contact with Cambridge.
But,
You don't know what I'm-
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
that's it.
thank you. Back to item 2 on the agenda, we'll now call to order the public hearing related to the placing of 4 telephone poles on Stewart Street.
Anybody here representing National Grid or Verizon?
Ken Doby, National Grid, and what we propose to do is
Ken, could you just, so that we
that on?
get the record straight, just,
What was your name again?
Ken Doby.
Is the microphone on and move it closer?
also, Ken, can you just bring the microphone closer? It's not for us, it's for the
Okay.
broadcast.
Is it, it's on, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
Go ahead.
set? Yeah.
Yep.
What we propose to do is install 4 poles on Stewart Street, which will shorten the spans and provide a more reliable service, because in a case of long spans, in winter weather in particular, the lines sag with ice, snow, and this will create a better environment for the reliability.
Those poles are pretty far apart right now.
Yeah.
Have there been issues on that spot before, or?
I couldn't tell you, but as a rule, that if the spans are long, and I can, judging by what I can see here, this should shorten up the spans and bring the wires up. So
There have been issues. I don't know if was at these pole locations. I know there had been a couple of issues on Stewart Street, but what pole numbers, I'm not sure. So I don't know if it's these or other ones.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question. So, it's a public hearing for National Grid and Verizon New England petition for joint or identical pole locations, Stewart Street, south side of the street, installed 4 new poles. Petition for joint, what does that mean?
both companies, Verizon.
So it's just a joint
Yeah.
or identical pole location, so it's gonna be a joint between Verizon and you guys?
Yeah.
And you're gonna use the same pole?
Yes.
I didn't know if that meant you're gonna join the pole, okay, for install.
What happens with the trees? Because right now, it's kind of like threading a needle with those trees. So I would think in order to rewire that, you're going to have to do something with them.
If there's any trees in between the spans, you're
There
saying?
there are.
If they're up at a certain level in our electrical wires, we trim them. If they're down near cable and
They're right by the wires. If you put 4 new poles in and rewire, I mean, I don't see how you could thread that needle like it is today.
like I said,
Yeah.
we take
You trim. Okay.
we trim according to the company. We trim our own at our height. Verizon or whoever the local cable companies would trim down theirs if theirs needed down at their height.
Looking at the graphics, I didn't see any driveway issues.
No.
I don't anticipate any.
No.
We have a question from the audience?
Yeah. You have.
Yes.
You need to use the microphone.
Yes.
Here.
Thank you.
If you could
I'm
state
on
your
the
na- if you could state-
Alexandra Gorelnik, and I'm the property that's marked 210 Stewart, but it's in fact 210 Middle, and which is the corner property. And my understanding of this diagram is that the pole labeled P47 will be a new one. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That is right at the point, on at least shown in this picture, that we have an entry to our field that we need to use to get the tractor in to mow the field.
Onto your property?
Yes.
You own the property, and so theoretically, it's a right-of-way. It's a driveway. If you had a driveway, they would be the same thing.
Yeah.
So you would never put a pole in front of somebody's driveway.
I would find it hard to believe that they would stake a pole location in front of someone's driveway.
I mean, it's
or a road or an access to somebody's a preconditioned access to
if
somebody's
it's
property.
if it is quite obvious that it's an entryway or exit. I couldn't see them staking a pole in that way.
Okay, so maybe it's not as obvious to the naked eye, but it really does exist.
Is there a
The
stone
way
wall or
in,
anything
the
there?
way, the only obvious marking is that there's an opening in the stone wall.
There
There's
is.
no stone wall at this point, and it's large enough for a big truck to drive in.
Okay, so then we wouldn't grant that at that location.
I couldn't say where they stay. I haven't been to the
Yeah, I went and looked, and now I could have missed it also. And I looked where each of the existing poles were, and the new ones are basically kind of eyeballed halfway in between, which is how they're laid out on this page. I may have missed it.
Well,
I don't know.
possibly halfway in between, I didn't know that, is not directly in front of the driveway. I don't know, it's just from the drawing, it looks as if it could be. And I want to be sure we can mow
Yeah,
our
because
field.
this looks like it's right, I don't know if this is your property line.
The property line that you see right there is our property line. And see on the right of that line, it says 210 Stewart.
Yeah, that's you, middle.
We're 210
Right.
Middle,
Yeah, no, I
and
know.
that's our property.
Right.
The house is at the other end of the field, but as I say, that's our access to mowing.
So why don't we do this? We grant it with the stipulation that it's not in any way affecting their access to the present access they have to the property, and we have Gary confirm that with us. And if it is, they have to come back in.
P47 is what we're talking about.
Yes,
Yeah, and they have to come back in, because I wouldn't,
that would be
I
fine.
wouldn't grant it if it's gonna affect their access.
Gary?
They can move the pole 5 or 10 feet either way without it.
Well, what I said was that you have to, because, or one of us has to go out there, but we have to make sure that it's
We'll
not.
make sure it isn't obstructing any of that.
Great. I have two other quick questions.
How I was going to say, just when this event takes place, how does she make sure that that she doesn't come back some morning and find that it's been done and she didn't know about it?
Well, not having visited the scene, there should be some type of mark or stake there
Okay.
at the moment. If not, it's a lot of times they get hit or taken out of the ground. But usually they have to be marked for dig safe, and that will give the location. And I don't know if there is one there at the moment.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll look into that, and can I call Gary or something to confer with him if there seems to be an issue?
I prefer you call Gary, but we'll work it out. Let's. Why don't you say your other? I'm sorry. Mr. Chair.
No, go ahead.
Why don't you say your other two concerns that you have?
Oh, okay, I just
And
have
then
two.
and then let's work this out.
Beautiful. I have two questions. One is, it says a 40 class 3-pole. What does that mean?
That's the height and width of the pole.
Okay,
Give
so
us an example in town
Yeah.
what that is.
The average pole going down the street's 40
you mean
feet.
like a wooden telephone
It's
pole?
a creosote wooden pole.
They don't use creosote
Well, okay.
anymore. Yeah.
It's a telephone pole, a wooden telephone pole, probably the same size as the new ones they're putting in on Main Street. Not the older.
Right,
The older ones are a little shorter, and they're
Usually
getting away from that.
35 footers on the older ones.
Fine. And the other question is, when you dig obviously you have to dig a hole to plant the pole. What about my stone wall? Will that be affected by digging a big hole?
It's not that big of a hole.
Okay, I mean, I don't
It
know.
really isn't.
And it's on town property, the pole locations.
It's on the easement anyway.
Oh, sure, no, I
You're
understand
afraid that
that.
a bigger hole and it might disturb your stone
Well,
wall in
just,
some
I don't want the
respect.
stone wall all tossed over and left, you know.
No. I don't know what will happen, but the ones that are on Main Street they're putting in pretty tight quarters, they seem to be, those things seem to be pretty surgical, like.
Yeah.
they're not-
Okay,
I wouldn't
that's
see
fine.
that. But I'm not saying it won't happen, but I
I
don't think.
understand.
It's not a big operation where a big hole is dug, and it's generally like a.
Post.
Okay, so how are we gonna make sure that this doesn't,
We need to approve it with some kind of contingency wording.
well, I would approve this with the contingency that Gary works with National Grid and the homeowners, that this pole does not restrict their access to the pre-existing access they have to their land.
Poll P47.
Poll P47, that's critical, yeah.
Yep, is that okay?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Gary, he knows that these conditions that we sign will be on the conditions that we sent to them. They have to work with Gary to make sure the conditions of this permit that we just, I think it's a permit, is it a permit?
Yes.
Permit that we just granted, those conditions are met, so they have to make sure that and if they're not met, they have to take it out. Thank you, sir.
So they are looking for the board to sign.
Can
Do you
I
wanna
write,
put those
can I write that
conditions?
sentence with it, though, or?
Yeah, of course we can.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I
I'm
think
gonna
we
write
should
that.
include that, yeah.
Okay,
Why don't we do this? We can sign it tonight, and then you can write it at any time.
okay,
Send
okay,
it back to him. Sound good?
okay.
Just to get it done.
Thank you.
Do they, does the chairman sign for all of us on this? It just seems to be, or is it all of us?
It looks like everybody.
It does look like everyone.
Board, council, or board or council of town or city, that would be us.
That says chairman.
Board or council of town or city, so the council would be the city.
As opposed to the attorney council.
I got
SC.
it. Okay, next. Who is coming in tonight? Oh, we have the,
Okay, we're going to go back to item 3 on our agenda. Candidates that are desirous of being on the town manager search committee.
are they all here tonight? Are they all here?
I'm just looking through my list.
Who is here? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Who's coming in tonight?
It's past 8 o'clock, so that it was.
But who's coming in
What's
tonight?
Bill?
Bill?
Dugan? Okay.
Who else?
And
Yes, indeed.
That's Cindy Conrad. Yeah.
Madden, I'm sorry.
he's not here yet. And Catherine's not here yet.
Catherine Conrad.
Okay, Dugan, got it.
Yeah, so Cindy and Bill are here.
Okay.
Yeah. Catherine not here. Dugan. Okay, so everybody's not here.
Cindy, you want to come up?
Before, Mr. Chairman, can I make a couple
Sure, go ahead.
of remarks before we actually talk to people? So just in general for the audience, for everybody, so the search committee, and I'm just going to repeat previously discussed, primary responsibilities are to review the resumes that come in and determine who will interview. Secondly is to do the initial screening interviews and determine a minimum of 3 candidates to be interviewed by the selectmen for the final selection. We will provide the committee with a job description. We just approved that. And we'll also advertise, once we get approval from the legislature and governor, we'll place an ad to advertise the position. So you guys will not have to do that. The committee makeup is 5 people, 1 selectman, and 4 at-large members. So these are the 4 at-large members. I just want to make that kind of
Okay,
general
that's
comment.
good, that's good, yes.
Did you see that email too that I sent? Forwarded you to from Senator Sarah?
Yeah, that was regarding the budget. Yes, I did.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for
I
coming
knew
in.
this.
Cindy, could you just, just give us 2 or 3 sentences about you and your relationship to the town and so forth, just why you'd like to do this?
Okay, I'm fairly new to town. Live in one of Chip's developments in cottages at River Hill, from Newburyport. So I was very active in Newburyport. Most of my time I spent with either the schools or with Yankee Homecoming. And it's my new town. I want to get involved. I want to do something to help.
Great.
Do you have any experience in sort of human resources or doing job searches for in other situations or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a master's in community development, but for the last 15 years, I've been a sales manager. So I've hired hundreds, literally hundreds of people over, the past 20 years. So I've done the job search, the interview, the whittling down, and the decision a lot.
You've seen a lot of people.
Way too many, yeah, probably.
There were too many.
Yes.
What's your availability like?
I have a lot of flexibility with what I do now, so I've got excellent availability.
Yeah, we don't know when the state's going to approve this, so we're kind of guessing like September, October-ish.
Yeah. Well, one of the things when we moved here was to downsize, so I didn't have to travel all over the world anymore. So I used to do international, and I was always on the road, and now I hope to never be on the road again.
Are you currently have to travel, or?
No, I don't, and I'm not going to go back there.
Okay.
So, what your brief stay in West Newbury? How do you like it? What do you see? I mean, what would you bring to this committee that you think that we're going to be evaluating an individual, a man or a woman, that would be running our town?
Mm-hmm.
What type of experiences, life experiences, business experiences that you could lend to this committee to make sure that we could pick at the end, that you would come up with 3 people that you could present with confidence to the Board of Selectmen that could do a good job.
Well, I think from the HR perspective, I know how to ask questions and get to know people and, make those decisions. Prior to being in my sales position, I have a master's in community development. So originally I worked for a custom home builder in New Hampshire, and we transformed a town. So from I guess the other side of the coin, I know what it's like to be the developer coming in and asking to start new neighborhoods, and I know what disruption it causes for people that have the abutting neighborhoods, and so that piece of it is really of interest to me. And the reason we're here is because I thought that Cottage Advisors came up with something that was kind of new and revolutionary, and a different way to live, and that's what attracted me to the development. And I was more used to small town. We got into Newburyport, and because of my husband's job 20 years ago, and didn't want to leave, but I like the rural aspect. I like the small town feel here.
I think it's important that this isn't kind of be a big job like interview or anything, but it's always nice to put a face with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't do any homework. I didn't know.
No,
I was
no,
gonna...
we don't. So that's what I want to make sure that you didn't have to have I want to make sure that you know and everybody knows. But it's hard for us to. You get a lot. It was nice. We got a lot of people that were interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm new to I've only lived here a year and a half, but I'm going to stay, and I want to have a hand in the my new community. I don't want to kind of come here and sit back and let everybody else.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions, Joe?
No. Good.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Mr. Sherwood?
I don't have to. You don't have to ask the same question, do you, Chairman?
No.
He already knows the answer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, those were her answers.
Just kidding.
You're not going to give her answers, are you?
Oh, no, I forgot them.
I forgot the questions. So in your professional career, can you talk about your experience interviewing people?
Sure.
Senior managers, perhaps, I don't know.
Right. I work in Kendall Square in Cambridge for a small company that has about 200 employees. I oversaw the hiring I've been there for about 10 years, and until about 5 years ago, I oversaw all of our hiring, which was probably about 150 people. Almost 17, 18 years ago, I was actually doing recruiting sort of earlier on in my career. So I've got a lot of sort of hired, I think, like our friend there, hired hundreds of people and sat in far more interviews than that. But I've actually been professionally trained and sort of running a hiring program for a small company.
You moved, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You moved to West Newbury a little bit over a year ago?
That's right.
What brought you up to this area? That's a killer commute.
Yeah, it is. So I actually moved here from St. Louis, but I'm from Massachusetts. I grew up on the Cape. My parents live in Rowley, which is how I got to know the North Shore. We lived in Newburyport about 10 years ago. And through my work, I ended up in St. Louis until a year ago when we moved back here. West Newbury was a town I became very familiar with just from living in Newburyport a few years ago. And it was really the perfect town for us because we did want a sort of small town with a nice community, but close to Newburyport. The painful part is the commute for me, but it's honestly not that bad. And I get to work from home a decent amount too. So
You didn't become a Cardinals fan, did you?
not really. I made my peace with them though. Good National League.
That's great.
So what do you see that you can contribute to the process?
In addition to sort of the extensive hiring that I have done, and that really are at all levels, from early career people to part of the process for hiring our officers of the company. I've also been part of the sort of Cambridge business community in fits and starts for about 15 years and watched the way the town manager in Cambridge has been part of a transformation where, in my opinion, what's been really interesting about specifically Kendall Square is that there's been a tremendous amount of growth, but it's all been sort of rooted in an identity of that part of town. So they've been able to sort of be wise and intentional about the growth and development of the community. And I think that I'm not exactly sure what role the town manager plays, but I attribute a lot of the public efforts to their efforts and their leadership.
Glenn, anything else you?
Yeah, you have like a really, really, really interesting resume.
Thanks.
I mean, a real fascinating background.
Yeah.
And your studies and what you have your degrees in. No, not really. I mean, I don't actually.
Yeah. Love to help if I can.
Excuse me?
I'd love to help if I can.
No, thank you. And one thing we like is it seems to, first of all, that was a question. How did you hear about this? That was kind of important.
My wife forwarded me she got an email saying that a number of sort of volunteer opportunities for the town.
So she must be signed up for the website. Would that be it, Mary?
Yeah. Okay.
I just like that. I mean, I forgot to ask that from the lady. I just like to know what's working.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. My wife forwarded it to me. She
newspaper.
goes, "You might be interested in being part of the search committee because she's seen me do hiring for a number of years."
Cool. So, well, thank you for coming forward because it's actually nice to see people that have just moved into town
Yeah.
the next couple of years, last couple of years have been wanting to get involved. And it's actually nice to see because previously it was kind of hard to get people to get on committees and stuff like that. So.
Well, we've only been here for a little over a year, but it's
You have kids?
2 kids, 8 and 10 at Page. So we've feel very welcomed here. The community is wonderful.
How the selectmen go?
Awesome. Are you selectmen? Okay, good.
Yeah.
You guys are great.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you. Did Lark say he was coming in tonight, or what? He did. Okay, so he's just not here. Got it.
Catherine, you want to come up?
Thank you for coming in.
Good evening.
Thanks.
Nice to see you in person.
I encouraged Catherine to come in. She helped us a lot when she was on the search committee for the interim finance director. Her help was very good in terms of HR questions, what we can ask, what we cannot ask, those kinds of things. Advice was very good.
Yeah, I served on the personnel committee with her, and I actually pushed for her to be. There was somebody else on the committee that wanted to be on there, but I actually pushed for Catherine to be on the interim finance director because of her experience and because it's somebody new too in town to give a little bit different perspective and rooting out somebody that's good for the town. So I'm glad that you did.
Catherine, do you have any questions for things that you think we should make sure we're cognizant of, that anything like that?
For the position itself?
Yeah.
Or for the committee?
No, just for the position, you know, in the search process, anything that we should be.
I think it's always important when in the hiring process, thinking about today for tomorrow. So really thinking about what's your 5-year plan for the town, or your 10-year plan, however you do your strategic planning, thinking about what do you need in somebody today in this town manager position to accomplish what you need for tomorrow. So hiring for potential. So thinking about that, I think this is a new position, so there's going to have to be somebody probably with previous experience. This shouldn't be, a candidate that needs a stretch role, somebody that might have dabbled in it a little bit.
We concur completely.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you what you know. You guys have been doing this for a while, right?
Else, but to me, that's like
we've said
yeah, right.
We're doing a new thing. This person has to know what they're doing.
Yes. First step.
There's no track record. This person has to be grounded in
Not
having
like, hey, this
done
is a great guy. Let's take or a woman. Let's take a chance on him.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems like they've done it, or did a similar type role.
They can
So
grow into the position.
Right. So I think that's I always think about today for tomorrow, like what's looking at, we call it our strap, and your strategic plan. What do you need to do in 5 years, and making sure you're hiring somebody that has that same vision, that has the skill sets or the capabilities or the experience to get you where the town needs to go. So,
are you going to be okay with, as Joe said, probably September, October meetings with those? Is that a bad time or an okay time?
Yeah, there's never a good time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really have ebbs or. Yeah, I think that's a better time for me. Usually, like January through March is pretty difficult, but the search committee for the previous experience I had, that seemed like it worked pretty well. The timing of the meetings, I think we didn't have to end up doing Saturdays, but as long as I have like enough notice to plan, personal,
it's not. Won't be last minute.
Yeah.
It can't be. You can be doing interviews and looking
you have
at
to post.
resumes and so forth and so on.
Right.
So.
Having done the finance director process, what would you like to see in this process?
So for this process to really ramp it up, and I know it's a little different being in the public sector, municipal, right? So the screening process, I think I was a little intimidated when I heard the stories of the original or the previous was Michael's last, I can't remember Michael's last name. Right. For that, I heard that there was a long interview process. There was many candidates, so really narrowing it down to save time, like doing the pre-screening. I know you did a really great job, Dave, with pre-screening the candidates for the interim search. So doing more of the pre-screening on the front end, looking at the resumes versus interviewing 20 people in person.
Mm-hmm. The committee doing
the committee, yeah.
Yes.
Joe is actually going to be our
Joe.
Selectmen's representative.
Right. Yep.
We've actually voted that already.
Okay. Yep. So.
Good. Anything else, Glenn? Okay, great. Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What's that? Yeah, but we're gonna have to wait till the next meeting, right?
What's that?
Well, just when we're gonna, but we
Not
had
the next meeting, we said There was another group that was gonna come in on the 24th, and then we said the next meeting after that, which is the first meeting in August, we were gonna actually vote.
Perfect.
We didn't
People
say
should
that
know.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
They
didn't
don't
say.
feel like they're.
Did you hear that? We didn't say that before,
We forgot
We're
to
gonna
say
vote
that.
on the first, we're gonna do that on the first meeting in August.
which is August 7th.
We had a lot of people that were interested, which we're very
Happy
happy
about.
about, yeah.
So they're coming also in on the 24th. So, okay.
Bill? This, for the record, is Bill Backrack.
Hey, Bill,
Hey, Dave. Hey, Glenn. Hey, Joe.
are you in this, continent now?
Yeah, in fact, I
I
stopped traveling about 7 months ago, so I'm working completely in Massachusetts now. Yeah.
That would be my concern, because you always seem to have been in Asia.
Yeah, I was in Asia, and then took a step back and decided to take a step off the. My son's a junior in Pentucket, so I want to spend. He plays sports, and so that's what I do now. Is I go hang out, watch him play. So.
Cool. How do you see this, I mean, you've been around the block a few times and back, you've been on serving on committees, how do you see a group like this, getting together and how?
Yeah, I think initially we have to figure out the structure, right, of how we want to go about in interviewing. So, for example, I was on the committee for the finance director. I was on the committee for the superintendent, and then I was also on the committee for the call center. And I think what we did that I think worked quite well on the finance director is we developed a structure up front. We spent probably a couple of weeks to 3 weeks, probably 2 or 3 meetings. Really.
Structure of what? I didn't hear you.
Finance director.
Okay.
Yeah, and we spent 2 or 3 meetings just really trying to understand the roles and responsibility of what we were looking for in the candidate. And so what we did is we came up with what I would say screening of the resumes up front, and we would grade what are the key characteristics. When we read the resume, what was important, right? And so you'd have maybe 10 characteristics of what we thought that position should have, and then we'd go ahead and grade it. And then we would then go ahead, pick probably 10 or 15. We'd have phone interviews, screening, come back again with the questions, and then just broke it down. I think it was down to 6 individuals that we interviewed for that. And part of that whole interview process is we all had a list of questions that we were going to ask. We went around, so everyone had a chance to ask a question or multiple questions and then open it up. And then the one thing that we did ask, which I think goes along with a little bit what Catherine was talking about, we asked for a 90-day plan. What are you going to do in the first 90 days? Because one of the things that I think that's important here in the town manager position is someone can have the skill sets, but the ability to communicate across those departments and be able to work and have those relationships to make sure that they work together, I think is very critical to the success of this position. So that's some of the thoughts. I don't know, was that a...
You think having a town manager is a good idea?
Well,
I have
Glenn...
to ask you because you were one of the people that might have not thought this was the best idea.
No, and then after listening to Joe and David and yourself talk that night, realizing, and then going to the town meeting and reading the thing, that I realized that, yes, it is. It's important from the standpoint that I think it can get us out of the focus on not only day-to-day, but also in the future of where we're at in West Newbury. And I know that, you guys have full-time jobs. And the town manager's job here is going to, the key here is being able to supervise multiple department heads, and then taking those multiple department heads and looking at the strategic vision, right, and going forward. So to answer your question, yes, Glenn, I'm fine.
I was just kind of being.
No, I'm fine with it. No, I did have some questions. Well, my main questions, my concern was, I think at the time that there was the discussion was, you had so many people reporting to that individual. How are you going to manage that? And I think over time, I think we can come up with a better, not a better, but I think you came up with a good discussion on that whole organizational structure. So
Good. We tried.
no, you guys did fine. I thought it was great. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know. I don't know either. I'm good. Okay.
All right, thank you, guys. Yeah, have a nice day.
Coming in, Bill.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks.
So you want to just hold off on the mark?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, he can come in next time or not. It's
Yeah.
up to him.
Maybe he's practicing.
This Monday night, they practice.
The band may be practicing, yeah.
They do practice on Monday nights after call.
Big day on Thursday.
Right.
You get to meet Elvis a couple weeks ago?
No, I missed that.
Okay,
Controversies.
we're gonna talk about the street opening on 363 Main Street.
College advisors.
Chip, nice to see you.
Great seeing you guys. Thanks for having us.
It's one of your, somebody who bought one of your houses down in
Oh, yeah, she just left.
Just interested. One of the reasons why she came because she said something like you were an innovator of something, didn't she?
Yeah, she
Very
came-
complimentary.
she
Are you
came
sure
to
you
West
met-
Newbury
you
because
talking
of
about-
you.
You
Yeah,
talking
she-
about the same person we know?
She used the name.
Honestly.
My name.
Yes.
Who was she?
Cindy somebody.
Oh, Sarah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice. That's cool. So you guys welcome the tax revenue from it then, right?
We welcome just as much as you welcome the money that you made off of it.
Yeah. Well, next time we go to Cracker Rides,
we're all in the
we'll
same
make
business.
Make a couple more, right? All right. Do you get what you want to show?
Anything different from the one we have in front of us?
We've got a copy
I
here.
just want to make sure it's apples and apples.
Same
Okay.
plan, okay.
Sometimes they change. What's that?
What?
Basically, the last time we were here, we talked about rearranging some of the parking in the back, providing access to the site parking area, as well as blocking off both entrances to the Copos building.
And having an easement.
Correct. Yeah, there's an easement coming across, you can see that it's a 15-foot wide easement for the sewer, for potential sewer in the future. And the lawyer's written up some language for the easement to actually use this portion of it to go back and forth for the public use. This is a private road. So that to use this.
No, I questioned that, make sure that we have access to that.
All of that is on the legal.
And plowing and so forth and so on, that we would work, obviously, something out. We would be responsible for that parking lot.
For the parking lot.
Of course.
Right.
My question was, see I guess it would be the west end of the parking lot. There's like a little tag sticking out of the bottom. Yeah.
That's the turnaround thing.
So someone can back out of this.
Why, is that, I don't know, if there's, say you had a concrete sewer pipe there, is that gonna be, is that okay? That you could back over that, that's not gonna.
Any piping system, you can make it easily accessible for a vehicle across.
Okay, that's not an issue, Harry, okay.
No, there'd be multiple feet in.
Do you have any
Okay.
questions about this? Do you have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, a couple. My understanding, I talked to William the other day, he's going on it.
Gary?
On the removal of the hot top, they're only removing the part right next to the roads. So I'd asked about removing all the hot top that isn't being used.
Okay.
And also asked him to, I thought would be a good idea if we just connected the sidewalk from where it crosses Main Street, the ADA, to the road in front of the Legion.
Do what?
Connect the
Connect the
sidewalk
sidewalk.
from the crosswalk that crosses Main Street,
Yeah.
where their sidewalk goes, to the front of the Legion, so they ain't gonna walk all the way up here and come around.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That was basically all I had. They did a great job getting the parking spots in. That's all great. The only other thing is probably would be to, not do this right away, because we got to decide what you're going to do with septic there. There's an old septic system. If we're going to put a holding tank in, all that should be put in before they do that parking lot, because probably gonna be in the parking lot if we put a holding tank.
If everything goes on your end on plan, how long you plan on being out there?
When we start, or when are we looking to start, or how long is it gonna take
Yeah,
for
like
us
how
to
long is the
finish?
whole project gonna take?
River Hill, we were done in 22 months,
Okay,
so
say
just under 2 years.
So say 2 years. So is that okay with you, that we don't do that?
Well,
until
I
the
mean,
end?
look, so there's a couple of things. One, for us to be able to get our curb cut with the state, we've got to get commitment to closing those 2 entrances. Okay, that's what we all agreed upon. So we're gonna have to close those entrances as part of cutting the road in, which is what we're gonna do day 1. Okay, so if we get rid of those 2 entrances, how are you gonna get to the building? So we've got to build that parking lot sooner rather than later, right? It would be part of the upfront process.
When you close those, what does that mean? Does that mean you have to put a 8-foot granite post
No,
there, or
no.
does that mean you can put a 4-inch or a 2-inch berm or something like that, so somebody can drive over if necessary?
We showed you guys.
Do you know what I mean by that?
A pretty picture a while back, right? So, basically what we have here is what Gary's asked for is for us to connect from the crosswalk here on Main Street into the car post, which you'll see in the pretty picture. We had a connection from the sidewalk into the front of the building. Okay. So technically, what it's saying is that you just don't want cars coming in and out.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of places where there is no curbing on Main Street, right? Just woods and what have you. So it's just a commitment to close, access to egress.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Well, that,
Before
again, goes back to my point
before
to
you're
you.
wrapping up your subdivision, that will be all done.
Is
So it'll all be
the-
tied,
is the-
at the end of the day, that's
Now,
gonna be
my point
exactly what you
Is your
want.
road going to be, you're gonna have a binder coat, or you're gonna have dirt, or is it gonna be fully paved? Is that step last or step first?
So our intention is, and obviously we've got to work with the planning board, and there's construction phasing and all the rest of it. Our intention is to take, basically we have about 900 feet to get to the first house. So we've got to build that 900 feet of road. We're going to go about another, 500 feet past that. And then we have a loop that allow us to come back around and get out. So we're looking at that. Right. So we're looking at building that whole loop as part of phase 1, and that'll include the binder, sidewalks and binder, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll have basically rough grade road from that point on, because the sewer system will be out in the back of the site. So we've got to be able to get the infrastructure in the ground and be able to get trucks out back to be able to build that septic bed. So we'll put the road in, but basically take it to rough grade, right? So it'll just be a gravel road, and that's what we'll be looking at.
Okay, so, can you just go back to that? Because
What-
my question hasn't been answered yet. Okay, so so that you can build your road and get the proper permitting, whatever the heck it is, from the state,
Yep,
you have to close off the access to the front of the car post.
correct.
And so what Gary was saying about doing the parking out back sooner or later, you're saying, well, if we close off the front, nobody's going to be able to get in there with a car.
Right.
So then my question still is that what does close off mean? So if you put a berm, a temporary thing down the front of it or whatever like that for now, is that considered shut off? But somebody can drive over that very easily, and then we do all this stuff at the end of the project.
I'll leave that to you. I mean, what's
The final picture is that there's gonna be no curbing here at all. It's gonna be a grass strip. So someone had to drive over, they certainly could drive over the grass.
Oh, it's not gonna be a granite curb.
Not on this side, there's granite on the other side.
right?
nothing.
There's no sidewalk on
Okay.
that side of the road. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. There is
Okay,
no
so it
curb.
goes back, okay, so let's go back to my
So sure, you could drive a car over it.
So my question again is, what are you going to do to close off the access in the front?
Yeah, what is
That's
that?
going to guarantee, that's gonna make the state happy to get your road?
That's a good point, yeah. In other words,
What is
how
it,
do,
what is it gonna, what is it?
what's it gonna be, if it's not gonna be a granite curve, what's gonna be?
Or any
different-
kind of curve.
What's it gonna be different about it when we say it's closed?
It's gonna be a grass surface versus paved.
So you're gonna pull up all the hot top or whatever's in front, right?
All
And
of it?
Well,
right to the
yeah,
state
our
line.
plan that I showed you guys a little pretty picture of from way back a year ago showed that there was basically a small 4 to 6 foot buffer between the edge of Main Street and what the current hot top infrastructure is there, right? So
Right.
that way you have a planting. Basically, think about it as plantings in front of the car post. All right, so that's now the new edge of the property, and then the access to it would be in the back.
Yeah, I understand. We just keep on saying the same thing. I understand all of that. But now, what did you mention about taking all the hot top up out front? You'd want that part of it? Is that what you said, Gary?
Well, if we're gonna make it all. Yeah, if that's all
You want
gonna
the-
be.
all the old stuff
All that's
taken
gonna
out.
be paved at the end of the day is this and the sidewalk, and hopefully the sidewalk to there, and the rest of it would be all grass, or whatever.
Okay.
So
we
it's
don't
not gonna
wanna
look
have to-
good.
we don't
Know what I
wanna
mean?
have
They're
to-
overlapping existing hot top with new hot top.
We don't wanna have to, say, plow in the front, like where you're gonna put the snow. We
No,
wanna
understand.
minimize
I
that, yeah.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. So why can't we just leave it all alone? And there is no. I
Well,
mean,
you
just-
can. If you wanna leave that all hot top, you can
No,
just
I don't
pave
wanna
up
leave
to
it all
it.
hot
and-
top. I'm going with your recommendation, saying that let's do all of this at the end rather than in the beginning, because we're not sure what we want with the building. And what they said, well, we can't do that because we have to close off the
Well, you-
entrance to the front, the
you-
egress to the front.
Right.
So you're gonna need the parking in the back, but we
Well-
don't want that.
I would imagine the part of getting his driveway, his curb cut is on the assumption that you're gonna guarantee you're gonna close that down. I don't think you have to close it down before they're gonna give them the permit. I don't think that's gonna
Well, that's
happen.
that was my assumption. That's what I've been asking all
You just
along.
gotta agree to do it before it becomes a road, before the project's done. It's gotta be all wrapped up. I don't think it has to be done before they start putting that road in.
I'd have, I don't know what Mass DOT is gonna say on it. Everybody's got a
Oh,
different.
it's an abandoned building anyway.
Yeah, I think
I mean, it's not even on our, right?
if we agree to take all that out, I think that should be fine for him to get his permit.
Because
If
the
not,
heat's
then
even
we'll
turned off
deal-
in the building. The heat, it's not like people are going to the building to be
Right.
used.
Or,
It's not an active building. So
or if you,
it's not like people are gonna be going there.
right, or if you wanna get it all roughed out and just leave it gravel until near the end and pave it in case we wanna put a tank in, we won't be digging up new hot top. You could do that too, so. Pave it when you put the top on your road at the end of
I
the.
just want to get a plan that we can all agree upon. Every time I come here, it's, yeah, this is great, just do this, and then we'll get this thing signed, and we do it, and we come back, and then there's more things to do. So I just want to really just try to nail the scope down of what you want us to do, because that was what you wanted us to do last time. Prior to that was, well, just get us the parking lot to work, and we did that.
Well, okay.
Well, I
I'd
think what's
rather,
drawn on
well,
there-
if you want us to vote on this tonight and do this, I'd rather talk about going forward in the future rather than what was passed. So we can just say no and just wait if you want to do that, or we can just do it right tonight. It doesn't matter to me. But I'd rather not talk about what happened and let's just get it all done tonight and let's do it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have a scope that everybody agrees upon, and that's what we move forward on. That's
Well,
all.
I think we're all in agreement with the details that Gary just said, right, about that. But now we're just talking about when that's gonna happen. That's all we're talking
We're just
about.
trying to figure out the timeline, that's
So,
all.
Yeah.
okay, so let's figure it
So
all out.
I thought that it was going to happen as part of phase one.
Well, we don't
Okay.
want it to happen in
That-
phase
that-
one.
that's fine.
So let's try to figure it out that, for the best of both of us,
Yeah.
that it happens later on in the project.
Or you can get it all roughed in and gravel and then, like you said, pave it at the end.
Well, the only thing is if you rough it in and gravel, it's going to look terrible, right? It's the entrance, right? So
But
I mean, it's-
nobody's using the building. It doesn't look good
Well,
now.
I understand.
I mean, I don't
It's
know.
going to look better than when you have weeds growing in and all the rest of the stuff. Because once you rip it up and then you get gravel there, then all you're going to do is get a pile of weeds. So, I mean, look, there's different ways to handle it. I mean, there's a thing that we're probably going to end up signing with the planning board called the covenant not to convey. And you're very familiar with that from River Hill. So basically what it says is, before we can convey X amount of units, I need to do the following things. Like we had the affordable, the inclusionary housing bylaw as part of the covenant not to convey. So we could say, if you guys say, we want time to figure out when we actually want to get it done and are we going to put a sewer in there, what are we going to do with the building and everything else, we can commit to signing off a plan, okay? We can commit to saying, we'll have this done, and we'll have it done before we pick a unit number. You know, I've got 32 units to sell, 3 of them are affordable, so I've got, so I got 31 market rates, 4 affordable? I think I got 4 affordable. So I've got 30 market rate units. So we could say before the conveyance of the 28th unit, I have to finish all this work for you guys. And that'll give us a year and a half to figure out what you want to do with the building. But from my standpoint, I know what the parking lot's going to look like. I know what the improvements are going to look like in the front. And it's just a question of when I'm going to do it. That's all. I'm very comfortable with it.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah.
That's right. That's all we
That's
said.
No, so
that's
so
all I
that's
was
fine.
trying to do from the
So, but
beginning.
no, so my point is though, is that we can add, you know, that when the milestone, whatever milestone we agree upon, then we can put it in the covenant not to convey that I can't convey that, you know, the remaining units in the subdivision until the work's complete. So it's very simple. So if you don't want to do it in phase 1, but you want assurances that I'm gonna do it, we'll just tie it to the covenant not to convey, and it'll be somewhere towards the end of the project.
That sounds reasonable, yeah.
So,
Great. So we have a plan that has all the Gary stuff in it.
No, except for taking up the hot dog.
No, I got that, Gary.
well, that's what I just
Because I know
asked you,
that,
if
like-
it's different from.
No, I wanted to show you guys what we agreed upon last time. My point is, it's called creeping incrementalism, right? So every time we
First
come,
of all, we didn't agree upon anything last time, did we?
well, it was my understanding, all right. So what we've done is we've done a plan that shows what Gary wanted. And what I'm just trying to do is get an agreement tonight that says this is what we're gonna do. And hopefully we can get to that.
So, first step, are
Okay.
we all
You might
happy,
be losing me quick, because
are we happy with the
I'm-
are we happy with the parking lot?
I'm going down the road here, and I don't want.
Are we happy with the parking lot, Glenn?
I'm happy with everything. I'm happy with everything, but I don't want to be told that what we have and what we haven't done when we haven't done it, and make us look like we're not doing our job.
Well, I'm not trying to make it sound like you're not doing your job. It's just every time we ask Gary what he'd like to see, it's something extra. So I just want to try to get the scope nailed down, that's all. And I don't want to be
You're
problematic.
talking about Gary's sidewalk, is that what you're talking about?
Well, the sidewalk and the hot top and everything, it's not just hot top. So because you have hot top there, right, you've got subsoil. So now we've got to remove all of the subsurface for the hot top and then come back in and put loom down and seed it, et cetera, right? So it's not just as easy as scraping up the, you know, couple inches of top coat you have. You got to get the whole sub base, you're never going to get grass to grow, right?
So with this sketch, Gary did talk to Woody, and Woody asked me to draw this up to show that that's how this conversation went, and that's how it went, obviously.
Okay.
So to remove all of this pavement, the dotted area would be then be loamed and seeded. Then here's the original connection, here's the other plan, but we added the connection of the sidewalk to
Yeah.
to that.
And nothing will be done until, nothing there will be done until whenever we decide later on in the project. Nothing.
Well, the only caveat is if the state makes us do something in the front of the building, we'll have to,
Then we'll deal with
We'll do it.
We'll deal with it then.
Okay.
right. Yeah, that would be my only caveat.
But part of that, if the questions are asked, the building's in cold storage.
Correct.
So it's not, the heat's, I mean, if that helps, the
Okay.
heat's turned off, it's not a building. Even our insurance said we can't even be on our right policy because it's considered not a building that we use every day.
Okay. So do you want to show more detail?
No, I don't need to, no, I'm done.
I
I'm ready.
only have one question. What's the, right at the corner, right next to the street, what's the crosshatch?
Right there, that's no parking, so that's a handicap spot.
Okay,
So that's where a van park.
I get you, okay,
But it will provide access, emergency access for a vehicle to get in.
I see, okay.
Make a motion that we, how do we do this with the,
I missed make reference to that plan.
what plan number is that?
Version, whatever that version is, yeah.
There's a new date on it. We can use the date to stamp for the conversion. And I have another copy of this plan I can leave with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Just a small one.
Just refer to this title site plan here, dated this date.
What is the date?
Signed, it was sealed on 7/10/17.
C1.11. They approve
Uh-huh.
then subject to the.
In that they do this when? That's the other caveat part, is we don't want anything done until we give the okay.
Just do
or-
what you gotta do to get your radius, and you obviously gotta dig behind it.
Yeah, I understand, but we wanna make-
You know, you 88, then get all that, that's fine.
Well,
Whatever you gotta do on that spot, yeah, that's fine.
So
So our next step is we gotta submit these documents, this set of plans to Mass Highway for the highway entrance permit. And part of that requires two things, you being the owner of this, for me, you as an owner on the application signature.
Yeah, I got that.
And then, I have another letter which basically states that you give permission to have this curb radius in front of the town, in front of your property for this project. So that's the only things we need from you for tonight to submit this to the state.
And that we're all in agreement that nothing will be done there until 2 years around, or whatever. We probably need something more.
Like I said,
Probably
if he wants
see.
to rough it all in, he can. If you want to dig that whole front out.
No, we don't.
Put the loom in and.
We don't. No, we don't. We don't. We want to do them as minimal as possible until the state tells us we have to do something, because we don't know what's going to happen there. No, we don't.
That's right, that's why I brought up.
No, that's smart. You're smart. And then we have to do things twice. Let them do whatever they have to do to get the road in, and we don't do anything to that site unless the state tells us we have to, and until the end of the project. Well, what? I don't know. I'm keep on looking to you for the proper.
How do you describe that? The 28th what?
You can say the 28th market rate unit.
Is sold.
Yeah, I can't
Conveyed.
convey it.
Conveyed.
I can't technically sell it until I have the work done.
Okay, let's make them.
Okay, or an agreement from us.
Correct.
We could say, we'll let you sell it.
Yep.
We'll give you a waiver, or whatever the proper term of that is.
Yep.
And you say you do it in the next 6 months or something like that.
Right.
Okay, I have no problem. I have no problem with that. So I make a motion to that. 'Cause I don't know.
Okay, let's say it in English. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the plan. I don't remember the plan. I don't remember the plan number.
Okay.
I know it was dated.
I make a motion to approve the change in the road opening radius,
Curb cut.
and curb cut, and the improvements to the property of the car post in as shown on C-1.11 version dated 7/10/17.
Which includes the side, does that have, that has a sidewalk on it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and also the easement to the Busher property, which you agreed to also.
Yes, that's
Okay,
on there.
good,
Okay,
fine.
and that all improvements, we have to add that to the motion.
By the,
The conveyance of the 20th market rate.
Yeah. Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna sign.
Now, does any of that stuff have to be put into this thing that we're signing with the state, or
Not
all
with the thing
that?
you sign with the state, just.
The plan has to go with the letter. This plan does not have to go with the state.
You said you had a copy for us?
I do.
Please.
And full size and smaller. The only difference between the two would be the dates of the stamp.
Thank you.
But, obviously, the improvements on that. And this is a letter we'd like the selectmen to sign, which basically says they're giving permission for us to put the radius.
Is that the original one?
That is, it's a copy of the new sign.
Does that have Cecilia Town?
Made out to the state. That's beyond the application. You have the application.
Okay, that's, this one says originals, so that's fine.
Did you sign for all of it?
I did, yeah.
Is that,
So we
is
have
that-
we
is that
need-
this letter to the state too, just for him, or you want to?
Sure, just have.
we
Or
should have,
all
a-
of it's
we
fine.
should have a copy of that with the
We
signatures.
do, we have,
With the signatures?
yes,
You have copies? You
yeah, we have
originals?
we have a copy. I'm just dating it. Today is 7/10/17. Okay.
So that's all I need for the state plus.
Where's,
that letter right
sign
there.
this one? Okay.
Do we make a copy of that one?
We
This
need a
one
copy of
need a
that.
copy of, yeah. Oh, okay. Different letter, that's a different letter.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, good luck.
What's that? Like 4. Okay, let's do the, budget, year-end, intra-departmental transfers. We have, the first one is a request, by the, police, excuse me, for dispatch to transfer, $4,000 from the dispatch salary and wages line item to be transferred to the dispatch overtime, line item.
So moved.
Second.
All
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
I move to approve transferring $11,000 from the police salary and wages to police overtime.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move to transfer $5,000 to be transferred from fire drills to fire alarms.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve transferring $6,000 from fire administration to fire other wages.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve transferring $2,500 from town clerk salary and wages to town clerk expenses
Second.
to pay for digital imaging.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wages.
We had, a question about the,
Salaries?
right, for, the Park and Rec, summer program wages. And, we got some clarification on that today. I did, basically, the people working, the 2, people running the summer program at the paid school are paid as an annual stipend, and those wages are would not be approved in terms of their by the personnel committee, just in terms of their level, except that it's an annual stipend. So on an hourly basis, it would not have been acceptable, but this is what has been done in the past.
So how should that be set up, like with the town accountant? It shouldn't be set up as $55 an hour.
I don't know. But this is, in other words, this is what was done, you know, in preceding years for these individuals.
Right, and I think there was same questions in
Same question
the
last
preceding year.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
But I tried to give the town accountant, I tried to remember what we did last year, and I honestly can't.
I think we caught it mid-year, and it was just not resolved. That's what happened.
We never resolved it.
No. We brought it up. Then it was one of those things that-
The issue is that the people obviously do preparation work for the summer program that is not.
They're working beyond the hours that the program is actually
Yeah,
open.
exactly.
Kind of like what a teacher does.
Mhm.
Probably a little bit more work with them.
Getting all the programs in place before the kids show up.
Well, couldn't you set up basically a pay period, say, what was it, May 15th to August 31st, and then take that salary and pay it on a bi-weekly basis? take the stipend, divide it into the number of weeks or number of pay periods.
Pay a fixed amount as opposed to an hourly amount. That's a good idea. Why don't you talk to the town accountant about that?
So basically starting, on May, the first pay period, second pay period in May to the last pay period in August.
So they're being paid a stipend, fixed amount, like
Just
divided,
distributed over
not hourly.
Distribute over a longer period of time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So good. Okay, that's resolved. The other question, we asked the finance director to fix there were edits on here.
Correct.
And we were supposed to get a fresh copy with all the revisions on it. I don't have it either.
No, we don't have it. This is the reason why you get the big dollars, Archie. Could you write that down for us?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Pump out vote.
Glenn, you requested this to go on the agenda?
If you can remember correctly, a bunch of months ago, we were trying to be able to fulfill our obligations with the pump out vote, the grant, and so on. We thought we had a resolution that was going to go forward, but that never happened. Talked to Dave Koopman of that committee, and then me talking to Salisbury Harbor Master. The Salisbury Harbor Master is willing to take our vote on loan, and he has the staff to be able to do that, and then be able to have certain days that they would come down here with the boat and do the pump out services for people in West Newbury and around here, like we were going to do before. And willing to have people that still kind of wanted to do it in West Newbury be part of that program also.
Oh, good. That wasn't really made clear in this letter that they wrote. That's good clarification.
Well, the letter that
Andy wrote.
Andy wrote that to the
State.
grant people just to make sure that we can be able to do that.
Right.
And they're very happy. They want us to do it because the boat's not being done.
Yeah.
So I put it on. So if I could work with Mike on getting into whatever intermunicipal agreement we have to do. Oh, and the town of Salisbury Harbor Master has talked briefly to the town manager over there. He seems amenable to it too.
That's good. As long as the big thing with me was, and it wasn't clear in the letter to the state, that it was a loan. I thought based on this letter, we were giving it to them.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. I would
I'm
want to
sorry, I thought
make.
you meant we were making reference to the town, our town people who still wanted to work on it. They still would have the ability to do so in the letter. Yes, the way that was written, I would agree with that.
So we're loaning it to them for 2017.
Exactly.
I would want to maintain ultimate control in case we wanted to do something with it
Next
2
year.
years from now or
Yep.
whatever.
No, that is not going to happen.
Okay.
And
Sounds
then
like
at the end of the season, they'll come back to West Newbury and be housed here, so forth, and so on and so on and so forth.
Great.
Now, I just want to be able to dot all the i's, cross all the t's with him, and get into some admissible agreement, how we're going to pay for it, and so forth and so on.
Great solution.
Okay, so an individual in Groveland or West Newbury wants a pump out.
No, we're going to do it the same way.
Who do they call and what would happen?
No. Yeah, I'm going to work all that out, but this is what we had decided before, and I thought the same principles would apply. That we were going to be providing a pump out service on Tuesdays from 2 to. This is an example.
Yeah.
These aren't exact times. Tuesdays from 2 to 4, Thursdays from 2 to 4, Saturdays 3 to 6, and Sundays 1 to 4, or something like that. And they would call the Salisbury people like that. They have that system already in place, and they would be dedicated to this area anyway, and then they would go and pump out the individuals.
But I just wanted to know, how would someone from here know to call Salisbury? That's my only question.
The same way they would know how to call us. So we have to make sure we have it on our website. When the whole intermunicipal agreement is done, we get it in the paper. We how that gentleman said that his wife told him, whoever signed up for the website, you know what I mean? That's all we can do. The same way we would tell people if we were doing it.
Okay.
It'd be the same thing. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
And I'll work all the details out with Mike. Okay.
Yep.
That's all three people, and then we'll come back?
Great idea.
Yeah, as long as it's on Facebook, it's okay.
As long as it's not, or?
I said it's on Facebook. If it's on Facebook, everyone will know.
Yeah, West Newbury, you know what I mean? So that sound all right?
Yeah.
I went down there, met with the guy, and I was talking to Koopman, and it just doesn't work. 'Cause I asked him, hey, how's it working? And he went, he changed the subject anyway. And he's happy.
Good.
And Bill Simmons, I think, was one of the individuals that he'll still be able to do it. So that's the whole story.
Good. Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Appointments. I just wanted to note that we had appointed people to the alternate to the planning board, and we were unaware that the original intent for that appointment is for the planning board to take a look at the resumes from the people that were the applications from people applying, and then forward them to us. So that's I think that we want to do that basically.
I don't think the planning board's ever done that in the past. Also,
Never. Not that I know of.
So
Glenn, you've been here longer than any of us. So.
I no.
Okay.
So this is the first time that they've raised that issue.
Right.
Best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Can't say.
In quite some time.
Yeah.
But they are correct, though, in my interpretation, that it's
That's
what the
way it
bylaw
looked
says.
like to me.
What about you?
What was the question? He said.
I mean,
No, it's,
In other words, the because the bylaw says that the planning, if we need to appoint an alternate to the planning board, that
be somebody from their.
it comes from their recommendation to us rather than us.
Well, we don't have to pick somebody from their recommendations. It's just that they have to make a recommendation.
Right.
Yeah. We don't
Okay,
have to-
that's a good
Yeah.
point. Okay,
Exactly.
that's
I
a
gotta send them all the applications that came in.
Yeah.
From the planning board.
Do they have them already?
Whenever you want a response by.
Do they have them already?
No.
No? Oh, I think they meet like this week sometime.
they do, they have a Thursday night meeting,
Yeah, I don't know if they have it on their agenda.
but we could add it on the agenda. It's
Yeah, it's still
Thursday night.
time.
Yeah. and it's still-
Why don't you do it and give it to them?
So we'll put it on the revised agenda.
okay.
Thank you.
Are we still on appointments?
Yes.
Yep.
So I just want to make it be known that we still have openings on several committees if people are interested. There's opening on the Finance Committee, still taking people for the Town Manager Search Committee through July 19th. There's an opening now on the Capital Improvements Committee. I think the Investment Committee would like another person. Council on Aging has an opening, and Open Space has an associate member availability. And I think the Bicentennial Committee could always use extra help too. So if anyone's interested, they should contact the Selectmen's office.
Do you have a list of that? Can you email me that?
Sure.
Yeah, I took it off the website because I knew you had appointed some at your last meeting. So I wanted to kind of review that and kind of come up with a new list.
I'll send it to both of
So
you.
Can you
I
email
would
me that list?
appreciate
So
that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. We got it, Glenn? I got it.
Because volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. You only vote once a year in elections, but when you volunteer, you vote every
You
day
can vote all the time.
about the community you want to live in.
That's-
You gotta stop going to Chinese food restaurants and reading the fortune cookies.
Where'd you get that? It was
Found it on the web. Unknown.
Make a motion to accept the invoice warrants. Can I have a second for discussion?
second for discussion.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Archibald?
There's a bunch of stickies on there.
Man, we have no one here to answer. I was glad that Chip didn't say, well, you know, what time do people approve this? I drive a long way. I'm just shooting, you know, this is just clutter space, but you're finding these questions. Just trying to keep the fans at home.
Filler space?
Channel. Okay, I
Don't want to get in.
that's right. That is bad air.
This particular, there's a, avoided, avoided check, because it was overpaid because there is a sales tax included, so that's what that one is. I made just a small note on this one. I know that Amesbury Industrial, if you pay the bill by the 15th, you get 2% off. It's almost the 15th. We might be able to make that one. I just used to deal with Amesbury Industrial. They're one of the few businesses that still gives you
I like them over there.
discount for,
Feels like you're going back to the old store.
yeah. This, someone wrote a question mark and I agree with it. This is a employee expense report for the summer rec, but
Oh,
it's
what
a
is it?
check. It says send a check to Jennifer Connors, and we don't know
What-
quite what I assume it's, they're canceling their,
I put the question mark on there, and the reason I put the question mark on there, yes, it's an expense report, but there's no invoice. Like, what's it for?
well, I'm assuming that it's, they're returning their tuition for their, student, yeah.
I would assume that too, but I would go back to,
Can we just ask that question?
that needs a little more
It just says
documentation.
refund 2 weeks, so that's what, you know,
That's what it
I
is.
agree, but it needs to be defined better. This one needs a signature from Park and Rec. So with those notations, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was it?
Can you ask them to change the front sheet? They
Yeah.
haven't changed, I'm still the chairperson, we've gone through 2 cycles.
I thought you were the
Well,
chairman
then
emeritus.
By the time, it'll be corrected. It's like a stop clock. It'll be.
Yeah, if you just let it go in another how many months, it'll be
My water
accurate.
bill is in my wife's maiden name still. Even though we've tried to change it, but I mean, it's only 20-something years, so I don't want to.
Really, that's impressive.
Well, if
Maybe you're not really married, Glenn.
if you get
Don't get me in a good mood.
if you get reelected, you might be chairman again in 10 months.
Why, who's running against me?
I don't know. You never said you're running.
I'm running, I already said I'm running.
Oh, okay. Good.
One more term, that's it. No poking this bear anymore, after 3 more.
Okay, payroll.
So the hourly rate never approved. We already talked about
We
it.
already talked about that related to the Park and Rec summer program. What are these other ones? Some other several signatures are needed for mostly by the planning board. So that's it. I would recommend make a motion to approve the payroll warrant with the signatures needed to be added.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Placing item on the next meeting. I had a couple of things to note first. Mary, do you think we'll have any? I know you wanted to discuss this again. Do you think we'll have any information on the cop sync thing, or by then, or no?
I'm waiting for him to return the call. He said he would this week, so
Maybe.
I'll keep
Yeah.
you
Okay.
updated.
Tough time of year too, everybody's on vacation.
I kind of wanted to hear from the community center committee and the the bicentennial committee to, not necessarily the next meeting, but maybe to see what's happening.
That's on mine too.
Yeah, mine too.
Not the bicentennial, but that.
Well, both of them.
Both of them.
Yes,
Yes.
but I didn't have, for the next meeting, I really would like to have this, community center committee come in, give us an update, and maybe we give them some guidance where they should go.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do it next time or
Yes.
not?
Sooner the
Okay,
better.
let's do it next time.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, we've only got 3 more summer meetings left,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah,
one.
no, I want it sooner. I want that one sooner. We had talked about that. I don't know if it was last time or the time before.
Yep.
And I want.
And
that.
I wouldn't discount bicentennial. That's gonna sneak up
I
on
think
us.
we do it,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, Joe. I didn't say that.
Right.
But if the meeting's too busy next meeting.
Oh, right. It's not
do it
urgent.
Do it to the next one.
Yeah.
I would just plan it for the next one right now. But I would like to have the other one come in next week.
Fine.
And then why don't we just do that, and then whatever the next meeting is, do the bicentennial committee. Just so
Or if
we're
it's
done.
a slow meeting,
We
both
could
of
do
them.
both,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Did you see the email from Casey?
No.
Did not, no.
I didn't forward that to you?
No.
I didn't see it either.
What'd it say?
Just wanting some input from the board on what they thought, what your thoughts were
There you go.
for the bicentennial.
Oh, I thought that's what they were working on.
I thought that was
They're
their
reaching
idea.
out to all the committees. I will
Oh, it's a general to
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you
They're
have them come
reaching
in?
out to everyone.
You know what? Why don't you have them? If they're reaching out to everybody, let them reach out to everybody and then have them come in. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? If they're in if they could come in and say, "Hey, we're not really sure."
Did she
because
give
we're
a
still
date?
reaching out."
Did she give a date?
A deadline?
She wants us to give them.
But no,
she's asking
everybody.
everybody in town, all the boards and
Yeah.
committees. If you guys have, if anybody has any ideas
Okay.
or about the whole thing.
Okay, the planning board, is going to, come in and speak briefly about the outreach to the surrounding businesses and residents around the, town center about just the informational, grant,
About
for
the,
pocket
ha-
treatment plant.
How did you characterize that? As the mini sewage plant, Jen? How did you characterize that? The headline? That was a great headline.
So in any event, so we're
She
gonna
doesn't
do
write
that.
the headlines.
Yeah.
I know that,
Those
but
are-
it was your article.
Those are the ones. The headlines are always the ones that get the controversy.
Yeah.
She wants to make sure. Then write it.
And, okay, do we want to,
Can I ask a couple of things on that in the planning board, if you don't mind?
yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not sure if you're asking them to come in or
They are gonna come in,
Okay.
yeah.
So I would actually ask, first of all, I'd like an update on the staffing up there. How's that working out? And then, they charged bylaws in Fallensby Lane. That was all done because of a open space bylaw, open space.
Yes. That was a special permit granted pursuant to the open space development bylaw.
Okay, and then the one going up here is gonna be the same
The
one.
open space, yes, development bylaw.
It's the same one. I actually would like, that was the first kind of time it happened, I actually would like to have the planning board and the board of selectmen and some staff meet down there. And now that that's done, okay, because they're already granting, he's coming back and he's granting, he's asking for different waivers and this and that. Now that that's done, and I'd like to actually go down so everybody understands how that works. So when we start that thing going on over there.
So we don't repeat the same mistakes and
Exactly.
have the same issues.
Because quite honestly,
Actually, I thought about that too, you're right.
I go down there and I look at the quote unquote open space and how the walking trails and how those things are being done. I would be very, I don't know, I wouldn't be happy. And on a different note, well, that's a different note, but that Newbury and that road down there, that whole situation down there just irritates me. That round road, that if I'm not on the board of selectmen, don't ever accept that as a town street. That little round thing that they have down there, it's already broken. It's already done what Gary's already said it was going to happen down there. He didn't want that thing down there, but that's at a later date that the planning board approved that. But I wouldn't mind that going down there or having some discussion of, but it's hard to, in a meeting, it's better to go down there and have like a site walk, ask if we could have a site walk with them for a better understanding how that bylaw, that new bylaw was applied, right? So hopefully that won't happen up there. Or maybe it's too late, maybe we should have done it before they approved it, but you know what I mean by that?
No, it's not.
Well, there's two parts of it. I mean, there's the approval of it, but then there's also the execution of the
Yeah.
project. And that's what the big issue was last time.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
It was,
doing
it was,
something.
it
I'm not
was
sure
like,
what it is.
it was keeping them up to their part of the bargain.
Yeah,
Just
and it's
like-
not just planning, it's the conservation agent, the building inspector,
I
and the
agree
health
with that,
agent.
But we gotta go down there and look at it. What they consider open space and how it's been left, and it's not what anybody would think it would be sitting in a meeting, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So,
It's
I
how,
think-
how can, so you'd like to set up a site walk?
Let me think about it, and I'll
Okay.
get back.
But
That's
can I-
something-
can
so
I off-
when I email you about it, then
Now
you'll
I
know
get
what I'm
you,
talking
yeah.
about.
Can I offer you something, though?
Please.
I think what's done there and what's done at the Drake's Landing is a result of the bylaw that's existing. I mean, what you're talking about really is changing the bylaw.
Well, not changing it, but just showing what that bylaw does. And maybe,
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So, but
Maybe
with the
change-
intent,
maybe-
with the intent of maybe making a change.
could be.
Yeah.
But
Or,
that's not my intention. And being able to get everybody else and say, maybe before this thing gets going, right? As the chief administrative officer of the town, maybe we get all of our department heads in line and say, hey, listen, how do you think we did down there? What can we as a town make sure it doesn't happen up there?
Yep.
And if
Yeah.
people say, well, we don't have enough staffing, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have
No, that's
no,
not.
I'm just, no, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I don't want, I don't want to be behind the 8 ball. I want to be ahead of it.
right. I agree.
well, we were always behind last time.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to say it now.
It rained, and well, but it rained 2 weeks ago, it's okay now, it was always that.
I got
No, those are good. that's a
And
good
every
thought.
change he makes to that plan, and everything, it's for him to make more money. Like, remember he came in, I mean, everything he
Yep.
wants to makes him more money. He's not going in saying, I want to now, you approve the plan, now I want to make some changes, and so, they're not saying, I'm going to lose money when I make this change. So I want to make sure.
Got you.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe at the next meeting, you guys could also set up an idea of town meeting in the fall, because it comes up fast, and maybe to get to the department heads, some information of like, if you're thinking about it, because when you think about it,
I actually have that.
we need, usually it's the last meeting in September that you have to get everything in, to you guys to talk about it, so you guys want it in 2 weeks ahead of that, so if you can get the information out by next meeting of what you want, that gives people the whole month of August, as opposed to condensing it down to a week.
Yep, got
Okay,
it.
that's good.
So, yeah, I mean, just to talk about that more broadly, not a town meeting date and the calendar, that I think is what you were saying, the sequence of events. And I think Nick Delina now is the chairperson of the Finance Committee. He had said that he wanted to come in when we had that discussion. So if we could invite him in on the 24th of July, because
We've already talked about it, and they're planning on coming in.
good. Because to Mike's point, I mean, they really need to start working on what they do in the end of August.
Let's try to get them a member by that date too.
Get what? A what?
Get them a member by that date.
Well, they got John, so they've got 5. They have a functioning committee. They have 5, and that's why we said Finance Committee before. Okay, so next thing is the town manager ad. I'd like to get, that might take us 2 meetings. I don't know, maybe 1. But I'd like to be ready to go with that. And I would suggest that you have an ad in the MMA, which is kind of a smaller ad with a link that would bring somebody to the town website, that would bring them to something like that finance director thing that I had shared a couple of meetings ago. So, I mean, do we want to do just write the kind of the MMA ad, or actually I could do a draft of the big one if we want to both do the smaller one.
I'll do the small one, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's both, yeah.
Okay.
And then we can look at them and,
We do have a salary, I mean,
be ready to go.
we do have stuff. You gonna get us more information?
The salary ranges?
Yeah, Andy?
Andy had done some. I actually added a few that he didn't have, and now we're down to. I asked Andy for all the salaries for town managers and town administrators in Essex County. He could. So, almost there. They're pretty highly paid. I said they're pretty highly paid. Mary, the department head objectives were due last Friday. I think we still have a few missing, quite a few. So can you forward the email where you had made that request to them and say that they're past due, and to send it to us within a week? And if you guys are in concurrence, we should send that from the Selectmen's email address, and it should be signed Glenn Kemper, Dave Archibald, Joe Anderson.
Sounds good. You can use my stamp.
Well, I mean an email, but just type our names.
Yep.
So that way we can have them. Yeah. So let's do. I think we had said this at a previous meeting. We would look at our Selectmen goals next meeting.
Yeah. One second. Could you send that out on the Selectmen's one, signed from us? Could you CC all of us when you send that out? So that we can get
Right. Okay. At a previous meeting, we said on the 24th of July we would do our draft of our goals for us. You what?
What are you gonna do with the draft of your goals?
Selectmen goals for fiscal 18. And then last thing, and this is not urgent, but just an observation. Signs we had talked about. There was a gentleman putting up signs for the road race the half marathon that we had approved, and he came and took them down. But it just reminded me that we need to have that. And I don't even know, you might have done it already. I haven't looked, to add that to the use of facilities request, and we should probably add it to the special event request, that if someone's requesting signs on town-owned property, that has to be part of that. Plus,
That's a good idea. That's a good thought.
Well, Gary has brought it up to me that a lot of these road races go through town and they paint the road or the sidewalks. It's supposed to be washable paint. And it kind of gives them direction, and he doesn't want them doing that anymore. But would prefer them to put up the little signs instead and then take them down at the end.
Well, that has to be part of their application. So, yeah.
So we kind of.
Never been.
I don't think we ever approved painting a road.
Never, ever. I never knew that was happening.
But road
They
races
just always
guys
did.
tell
do
us,
do
Gary.
that. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they do.
Okay, so it needs to be part of the
Put an
application.
arrow and.
It needs to be kind of part of our checklist when a road race person comes
But we
in.
never thought of it.
Yeah.
No, I never
Yeah.
thought of it, because I never knew it was happening. So make it part of the application, not part of the application. If they can do it, then it's not allowed under any circumstances. So there's never a discussion about it.
What, painting the roadway?
Yeah. Right.
And so signs that needs to be approved as part of
Yes.
the application.
Yes.
I always kind of liked them because it told me when I was running, okay, got a mile.
See, I didn't have that problem. I was never out in the front. I just followed everyone else.
And I'm just,
No, but I mean,
And I'm
when you're just
basically home.
like
kidding.
out
I'm
there.
kidding. So, but
Okay,
but
let's go
seriously,
on.
at some point, and not necessarily next meeting, we do need closure on the whole
I
sign
don't.
thing.
I know we
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
work on the signs, but I don't think we have enough time to
Yeah,
get that at the moment.
just we give Gary the authority to rip down every single sign that he doesn't think that's been approved.
And the Attorney General hasn't approved the sign bylaw yet, so you might want to.
Wait. Okay. There you go. Okay, anything else?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
All right.